Krissy. Welcome back to my channel, Quarter Life Krissy. This is part 2 of where I've lived. If you missed part 1, please go have a look at that. I left off on Huntsville, Alabama, and I had plenty to say about my time there. So just to jump right to the video, the next place I wanted to talk about and the next place I lived was Stillwater, Oklahoma. Now, that might not sound fun, and especially coming from Huntsville, it's like, oh, from Huntsville to Oklahoma, yay. But it actually wasn't that bad. Stillwater was a very small town. There wasn't much to do. It just seemed like the whole town was the college. The whole city of Stillwater just like revolves around the college. But I did get to visit OKC, Oklahoma City, while I was there. I drove to Oklahoma City, which maybe was like an hour, hour and a half, I can't remember. And I met up with my friend Regina, who worked for the same company as me, and we went out. We saw the stadium, we went to brunch, we rode this little like river boat through like the canal, we played putt-putt, we went to a winery. It was just a lot of stuff to do in Oklahoma City, and it was really fun, like so much fun. I'll insert some videos. We went to a botanical garden. Wow, we did a lot in one day. The only other thing I could say about Oklahoma is that's probably where I saw my first like close encounter of a real tornado, which I'll also insert pictures of if I can find. And yeah, it was not as scary as I thought it would be. I mean, it happened so much that you kind of get desensitized to it. But yeah, they had a lot of tornadoes, and even when there was no tornado, just because it's so flat and dusty there was always like dirt flying around. Everybody's cars was always coated with like red dirt, just because the wind, it's like literally you could go there and see a tumbleweed just like blow across the road. So yeah, that was Oklahoma. It wasn't bad, it wasn't great, it was just kind of meh. I don't think I was there that long, maybe a couple of months at the most. So yeah. So the next site after Stillwater, Oklahoma was probably my favorite of all time. I had been to New Orleans before for a conference, but now I was going to get to live there. It was so exciting. So New Orleans, Louisiana. I was there for several months. The whole summer of whatever year that was, I'll have to insert it. I lived close to everything. I was right in the French Quarter. I was right off of Chaptoulas, and I can't remember the other street, but literally like across from Mother's restaurant. And it was just so awesome to be so close to in the French Quarter. I could go out to see any of like the shops and stores or any of the performers. I could go to Bourbon Street, I could go to Cafe du Monde. I had a lot of late night runs to Cafe du Monde, literally. Like I would exercise and then like treat myself with some beignets from Cafe du Monde. And just traveler's tip, let's try that again. If you go to New Orleans and you really want to try Cafe du Monde, you'll see that the lines are super long during the day. So go at night, at like midnight. It's so fun to go get some beignets and some hot chocolate in the middle of the night. It's still like a crowd, but not a line. So that's my tip for you. But yeah, I was able to go to like all the cathedrals and the art exhibits and like all of that stuff. It was all really close. I could walk everywhere. I could walk to Superdome. It was just amazing, so fun. And speaking of that, I did go to the Essence Festival, which was so much fun. My best friends Antoinette and Ashley came to visit, and they stayed with me, and we did the whole Essence Festival thing. We got to see some really cool like natural hair vloggers and bloggers who came to demonstrate live. We saw a lot of actors and actresses. We saw the cast of, I think it was Blackish. So we got to take some pictures with some really cool people, and it was fun. And then the performances, we went to, I think we went to 2 nights of performances, or maybe just one, I can't remember. But we saw Mariah Carey. And I laughed because it was how you expect a Mariah Carey concert to be. But we also saw like Jeremy, whatever his name is. We saw Charlie Wilson. We saw Ludacris. Was it Luda? No, what's that? Who's that guy that be crying all the time? What's his name? Oh my God, who was in like the movies? This is gonna make me sound so bad. In like the Fast and Furious movies, what's his name? Babe. Tyrese. Anyway, when we saw him, we saw a lot of people. It was a lot of fun, and just like, you know, nice to be around so many black people, black festival goers like us, and also black celebrities and black performers and black vendors. And it was just awesome. If you haven't been to Essence Festival, I highly recommend it. You get a lot of free stuff, you get a lot of connections, and you can support a lot of black owned businesses. My friends and I, we actually bought these beautiful African skirts, and we wore them around the city one day, and it was just so fun. And that leads me to my next point. We actually, that day when we wore the skirts, we rode the trolley, which like was my favorite thing ever, like the open air trolley down St. Charles. I worked on St. Charles, so while I was there, I would often take the trolley to work or to the Audubon Zoo, which was beautiful. I went to the zoo with my friend Leslie, and it was just one of the best zoos, if not the best zoo I've ever been to, and I've been to quite a few. So that's something fun to do if you're in New Orleans. I love St. Charles, and there's also a really good restaurant on St. Charles that I would go to for lunch sometimes, and I want to say it's Willie Mae's. I want to say that, but get the mac and cheese, and I believe they also have red velvet. I could do a whole video on restaurants to go to. Oceana, Willie Mae's, Mother's, where else? There's so many good places to eat. You can't go wrong. You could literally go to a market on like Saturday or Sunday mornings. I think they have a market with like food trucks, or at least they did back then. You could get something from a food truck and it would be like life-changing. So there's just so much good food, good culture, so many beautiful shops and black owned businesses to support, so I really loved it there. Also, one thing that made Louisiana really fun is that I made friends there outside of just my coworkers, and I also became really good friends with a coworker. But outside of my coworkers, I was able to make friends in New Orleans, because maybe it was me, maybe I felt more comfortable being in the South and like making friends since I'm from the South, but I feel like I had a good group of friends there. And I also like started dating around that time, like on apps and stuff, which my parents are gonna be like, what? But no, it was a really good experience when I was in New Orleans to do that. I only dated very minimally, but it was still fun. Also, I used to love going to the mall in Metairie, but I'm getting off topic. I was saying one thing that made New Orleans so amazing for me was that I had my own apartment. So at first I was in a hotel like I usually would be. My company would put me up in a hotel, and even if I was there for like 3 or 4 months, I would stay in a hotel, but usually they were extended stay hotels, so I had a kitchen and all of that. So it was the same in New Orleans. Staying in a suite, I had a kitchen with a stovetop and everything, a dishwasher, like a full kitchen really. Excuse me. So yeah, a full kitchen really, but then I had to leave and come home, and I lost my room because the Comforts came into town and they were overbooked and they couldn't give me my room back. I had to go home, mind you, because my grandmother passed away. So you know, my job and the hotel were really adamant to get me into somewhere, you know, because at this point I'm like coming back from the funeral and I don't have a place to live. So they ended up arranging an apartment for me. I believe the hotel owned the apartments next door, so I was able to get an apartment. And when I tell you, it was so nice. Oh my gosh, I had a living room with a pull-out bed. I had a bedroom, bathroom, vanity area, a kitchen, a full kitchen with an oven. Usually I just had a cooktop. I had a cooktop, oven. I had a full-size refrigerator, and I had a washer and dryer. Y'all, I never had to leave my apartment for anything. It's different living in a hotel versus living in an apartment. In a hotel, you have to go to a laundromat, or if the hotel has a laundry room, you have to do your laundry there. You have to cook things that can only be cooked on the stove because you don't have an oven. You have to keep it like very clean because you're living in one room. You have to like constantly ask for new towels and washcloths. But see that I was given a apartment, I was able to do all of those things myself, and I was able to cook full meals with an oven and things like that. But it's the small things that make your work process so much easier when you're not living there permanently, where you're just there temporarily. Also, it had an exposed brick wall. I had a dining room table. It was like really beautiful. So my parents came to stay with me while I was there. They loved it. It was awesome. Like I said, Ashley and Antoinette came to stay with me while I was there. It was nice to be able to host people and have like extra room and an extra bed for them, so that was really nice. I also started going to church regularly in New Orleans because since I traveled so much, I never really had time to find a church. I remember I found one in Missouri, which I'll talk about next. But yeah, New Orleans was the first place where I was able to like be there long enough to find a church, and I believe it was Franklin Street Baptist Church. So that's an awesome church. If you live in New Orleans, check it out. But yeah, I was able to feel a little bit more grounded in New Orleans, and I'm just so happy I was close to everything. I was close to the river walk, and like it was close to the little mall at the Riverwalk. I was close to the convention center. I could literally walk everywhere, and it felt like home. It really did. I could live there. Well, I could live where I was. I don't know about the other places in New Orleans, but I absolutely loved it. So the next stop was Springfield, Missouri, and somehow I'm telling you guys, Springfield, Missouri, or just Missouri in general, wins. I don't know how, out of all the places, you know, just talked about New Orleans, Missouri still somehow came in first. Even Pistol agrees. So what I loved about Missouri was the outdoors, how much I was able to participate in outdoor activities. I met some good friends. It was just so much fun. So I remember one day, two of my friends and I, we went kayaking and hiking. It was just so beautiful, such a beautiful trail. I would often go to this park and sit by, they had like a really shallow, almost like reflection pool with some really nice benches and areas to like meditate and sit. I would often go there. And you could also walk around. It was about as large as a track, so I would go there a lot. There were nice shopping malls, plenty to do, plenty of good restaurants, familiar restaurants to me. I would go get smoothies all the time. It was just great fun. Like, I just have such fond memories of Missouri. I remember late night walks with my friends, going to movies to see like that Tupac movie that came out. It was just, I don't know, like staying up really late talking to people. It was just fun. It felt like I had friends who had nothing to do with my college experience, which was really nice. Like, I remember one time one of my friends just came over and we watched a Miss USA pageant or something like that. And it's just, I don't know, I feel like Missouri felt like home in a way. It just felt very like comforting and very nice. We did have some hailstorms there and some bad weather there, but for the most part it was just nice. And Springfield is a cute little town. Well, I won't even say little, it's not that small, but it was a good area to be in. I was able to go to St. Louis to visit my friend Ashley, and that was fun. We met up there. We did all the typical St. Louis things. We went to the Arch, and then we, you know, got a bite to eat and went shopping and all of that stuff. But I love St. Louis as well. Would definitely recommend. I had been to Missouri before in general. I went to Kansas City when I was about 17, I want to say, for a national conference, and it was just so much fun. We stayed at Park University, and we would go into Kansas City every day to work and set up for the conference and compete at the conference and all of that. So that was a lot of fun. I met one of my sorors there, or someone who would become my soror, who I'm still in contact with to this day. So Missouri is just always good memories for me. I would definitely go back. I would recommend go to Kansas City, go to Springfield, go somewhere, St. Louis, because it's just a really cute state. I love Missouri. I don't know. Tell me if you like it in the comments. Maybe it's just me, but I think it's worth a visit. So part 2 is going a lot faster than part 1 because we're already at our last destination, which is Philadelphia, where I am right now. I got sent here for work and decided to stay forever. So when I first came for work, my first impressions were, wow, I'm so happy to be in a city that's close to other cities. I took the train up to New York so many times when I first moved here. I'm sorry, when I was first sent here for work, that it's like I barely got to see Philly. I was just always in New York. I was just enthralled by New York. Then when I actually took the time to learn Philly, I saw all of the history, Constitution Hall, the Liberty Bell, Old City in general. I saw the allure of Center City with all the nice restaurants and shops and fun things to do and activities that are at City Hall usually. So that was fun, and I got to experience my first like real winter with like lots of snow and everything, and just fell in love with that. I made a couple of friends. I had birthdays here, and then eventually I decided, you know what, put me here permanently. So I was brought on board permanently. Before I decided to move here, I was sent for work twice. So I got to live in Philly temporarily and try it out, so to say, twice for about 2 or 3 months each. Then I was offered the full-time position here. So I became very familiar with it on those 2 initial visits. And when I moved here, I had a better understanding of what the neighborhoods were, where I would like to live, areas that I might want to stay away from, and all of that, which was really, really helpful. I also was in contact with my best friend who lived here and who I met here, Amber Lee, and she helped me find apartments as well, since she had lived here for like 10 years or something. I can't even remember. So this had already started to feel like home before I moved here, because I met a lot of friends. I met sorority sisters. I met my best friend, Amber Lee. I met just tons of people, really, just tons. And of course I met my boyfriend. I met him in 2017, but we started dating in 2018. So by the time we started dating, I was living here permanently. And yeah, it was awesome. I love being here. I would say I definitely met my tribe here, and I want to be in Philly forever. It's such a good place to be. There's always something to do. The proximity to DC and New York and other cities is really great. I've driven up to Canada twice since I've lived here. I love it. I have so many friends here at this point, like friends that I made through other people who went to college with me and who moved up here, and through just going out and meeting people. I remember my first friend that I made here, Zuri. I went to what was it? Oh, it was a Labor Day party, and I just went. I was like, why not? And I sat beside her and we started talking. We've been friends ever since. I met Jenny in line for a Punchline comedy show. So there's always something to do, and there's always ways to meet people. So I met a lot of my friends like that. I met my friend Teresa at a So Far Philly concert that I went to with my roommate Dev. So when I moved here, I didn't have a roommate, but my friend JV from college, his girlfriend was looking for a place, and she is a flight attendant, and so she was able to come live with me, and I had a second bedroom. So she lived with me for about a year, but I was in that apartment alone for probably 2 years before she moved in. And then after she moved out, I stayed in my apartment for a little while, a couple of months maybe, and then I moved here with my boyfriend. So I was able to make a lot of friends through her boyfriend, through the other friends that I met randomly, and it just ended up being so much fun. Like, there's so much to do as far as like entertainment the comedy club, like I said, which is right beside the Fillmore, which has a lot of concerts and Drake night, and there's good food, there's Chinatown, there's restaurant week. That is so good in Philly. It's basically a week, well, I think they do it twice a year, where you can go to restaurants that would normally be maybe out of your price range, and you can get an entire 3-course meal for like $35. And that was I know other cities have restaurant weeks, but this was my first experience with it, and I think Philly has one of the best restaurant weeks. So just doing things like that with my friends. We have great shopping here. We have King of Prussia Mall, like 30 minutes away, which is it's the biggest mall in the region or something like that. When people come visit me, I'm able to show them a good time here, but we can also head to New York or DC if they want to. So I love it. I love it here. I've really built a family here. I do have family here, some that I know, and some that I don't, but I have family in New Jersey, I have family in Philadelphia, I have family in Chester. So it's not like I'm the first person in my family to live up here, which I also think is important. If you're thinking about living somewhere, do you know anyone there, even if it's a third cousin, just someone who can maybe show you around at first. Yeah, but there are people who are not related to me who now feel like family, and I just don't see myself ever leaving. I love the idea of staying here, buying a house here, raising children here. I love it. I love visiting home, but I also love when my parents and my siblings come visit me up here. And I just think it's a great place to live and a great place to be. And there's just, I don't know, I can't imagine a reason or a draw that could pull me to another city or another state from Philly. I'm just really content with being here. So that pretty much wraps up Where I've Lived Part 2. Thank you for watching. If you haven't checked Part 1 out, again, go look at it. Please subscribe to my channel and let me know in the comments below where your favorite destination that you've lived is, or where you would like to live. Where do you see yourself ending up and buying property and being really happy at? Or are you working to retire somewhere? Please let me know in the comments. I love responding to you guys. And yeah, thank you for being with me today. Have a great day. Stay happy and stay safe.